Internet for everyone.
Connecting the world.
Welcome to our presentation. I'm Mateo Raciosi and I'm here with my partner Axel Backlund.
We're students from Lincoln American International School of Buenos Aires. I'm from Sweden and Mateo is from Argentina.
Our presentation is about giving everybody in the world internet and how it can help.
I came up with this idea when I saw a video about the new super fast wireless technology called LTE Advanced. I thought, well, fast internet is great, I love it, but how many people in the world does really have internet? That seems like a bigger issue, right? So I did some research about this topic, and I got surprised how many people there were. And I wrote a proposal about this, and Mateo got interested, and here we are.
So according to the studies we made, 32% of the population in Argentina doesn't have any internet access. You can compare that to Sweden, where only 6% doesn't have any internet access. That's another reason why we picked this topic, because it's one of the most clearly visible ones. Internet is very important all around the world.
Most of you have internet access at the palm of your hand or at the click of a button.
However, this is not the usual situation around the world.
About 66% of all people on the planet do not have internet access.
The internet is very important, especially to these people, because it's 2/3 of the entire planet's population. So we thought to ourselves, how can giving everybody internet help the world?
We have 3 important arguments that we want to share with you today.
Our first one is medical help, which is we think that all diseases in the world don't have to happen if they can be prevented. By preventing these diseases, there are many great websites that we can use to prevent them. Our second one is economy. People can make better day-to-day decisions on maybe the availability of crops and things outside their village, because usually this is for people in isolated areas. And our third one is education. Many people cannot get the right education because they either can't afford a school or they live way too far from one. The internet can change this.
We'll start with this one, health. People in poor areas would get healthier if they had internet. In poor areas, like in Africa and developing countries, many people die every year of diseases that could be prevented by just having the right information. And they don't have that information. But internet can solve this. Through internet, they can get access to information to prevent easy diseases.
People could get help through websites like WebMD and Dr. Spring. Both these websites are great because they answer questions day and night, and they're managed by experienced doctors who know what they're doing.
That's it. Now comes to the second reason, about the economy. The economy in a country would grow if more people had internet. Today, there are 39 heavily indebted countries in the world, according to the International Monetary Fund. You can consider these countries poor, even though they get help from IMF and the World Bank. And in Africa, 32% of the population live on less than $1 per day. This is a lot of people, but we believe internet can change this. According to Ericsson, every 10% increase of mobile broadband makes the country's GDP, the gross domestic product, increase with 1%. So imagine if they installed 10% more internet equipment, then the economy would increase with 1% in the country. This is a lot. And for every 1,000 broadband connections, 80 jobs are created. This is a lot of jobs. Imagine if half of the population in Africa got internet, which is about 500 million people. Then 40,000 new jobs would be created. This is a lot of jobs, and it shows how big impact the internet has on the economy.
What? By the way, GDP is the average, or not the average, I'm sorry, when you add up all the products of a country, and you get that number that you get is gross domestic products. Another reason is that people could save a lot of money by having the internet, because according to a study made by Ericsson, 2% of the 2/3 of the population of unisolated villages have cut travel costs with the internet, which could be about $5 per trip. This could also help, especially people like farmers, with the availability of crops, because they don't have to travel outside the village. They can check online to see if they have the right amount of crops to actually, if it's worth it to make a trip outside. Another reason that it can help is with online banks. People don't have to travel to banks to deposit money. They could just use an online one.
The potential economic impact of mobile communications in Myanmar is a study made by Ericsson. They installed internet equipment in a poor country, Myanmar, under 3 years, and they recorded data and information. Myanmar, also called Burma, is a poor country with a GDP of only 53 billion US dollars. You can compare this to United States GDP, which is 15.5 trillion. It's a huge difference. And the population is 60 million people, but only 400,000 people have access to the internet. As you can see here in this graph, Myanmar's GDP increased by 7.4% under these 3 years. And you can also see here in other countries, like Kenya or Bangladesh, their GDP increased by 6.2% or 7.5%. This is a lot.
Also, many jobs will be created with the internet, like in these isolated countries, because for one, about 60,000 jobs would be created, and most of these jobs would be just by selling things related to the internet. Like you can see here, these are all SIM card jobs, selling SIM cards. That's a lot of people and a huge number.
But now, what would this cost for the population? As you can see here in this graph, this is the minutes of use per month that you can use internet. It increases every year, and this is the price, and it decreases every year. It would be quite cheap for the population. It's not free, but it's affordable for most of the people in Myanmar. Now comes the last reason. People would get better education if they had internet. Education is very important in our world today.
It's not only because school is so much fun, it's because the children of today are tomorrow's leaders. And we need to educate them on the world and how it works.
Today, there are 2.2 billion children on Earth. But 121 million of those children don't have an education. But we believe internet can change this. According to a study made by the American Department of Education, people perform better when they receive internet education rather than giving face-to-face instructions. This shows that everyone performs better, not just people in the developing countries.
However, it is much more important to focus on people in developing countries, because they may have the same learning materials for 4, 5, 6 years in a row. And especially in science, where the information gets updated every single year, this could be tough for people to learn.
Most of you use internet every day for education, to find answers to questions, to look up questions, etc., and even save files if you use a cloud storage program like Google Drive, Dropbox, or iCloud. This is also an opportunity for people in developing countries where internet might be affordable, but not a computer. They could use cloud storage to buy a cheap computer instead, because they don't need a computer with a lot of memory if they use cloud storage, and then the price decreases.
So what can we do? We can raise awareness. Not only because we need to raise awareness, because we don't have either the money or power to do this. Big companies all around the world are the ones that do though. That's why we need to raise awareness. We need your help to help us communicate the problems of these big companies and organizations.
You can go to our Facebook page, Internet for Everyone, to show that you care about this issue. And you can also go to our website, www.internet.moshuli.com, to find more facts about this.
Even the weak become strong when they are united. This is a very famous quote by Shana Fredrich. So thank you for listening to our presentation, guys.